Hey everyone! Today we're uncovering a manuscript that defies explanation, challenges experts, and hides secrets still unsolved: the Rohonc Codex. The Rohonc Codex is one of the most mysterious artifacts in the world. And although it was discovered over 150 years ago, to this day, nobody has any idea what it actually is. The strange thing about this particular artifact is that even though it looks like an ancient book, modern science has already determined that it wasn't written by human hands, but instead was created by some kind of machine. But if that's true, then how old is this machine, and how advanced was it, and why does the Vatican hate it so much? It all started back in 1801 when Napoleon's troops were pillaging through Hungary, looking for treasure to steal. They came across the Rohonc castle, which was guarded by a monk. The monk refused to give up the treasure without a fight and died in the battle. When the soldiers finally searched the body, they discovered that he had swallowed a small piece of metal. It turned out that this was just one of many pieces hidden inside the castle walls. This led them to discover a secret passageway, which eventually led them to a library containing thousands of ancient manuscripts. However, there was one book that stood out amongst the rest: the Rohonc Codex. This is because its pages looked as though they were made from metal. And when experts examined it further, they realized that it was covered in a thick layer of rust, suggesting that it must be hundreds or maybe even thousands of years old. They also noticed tiny holes in the pages, which seemed to have been punched there with some sort of tool, almost like a stencil. Further examination revealed that the characters on the page were actually raised lines, meaning that the entire book was written in Braille. But who would have written such a thing, and why? Well, unfortunately, we don't know. But we do know that it was definitely not written by human hands. After all, how could anyone have possibly created such a perfect design? In fact, researchers have actually concluded that the only way such a book could have been created was if it was done by some kind of machine. Okay, so we know that it was probably created using a machine, but how old is this machine? Well, after examining the writing in the book, scientists believe that it was produced using a very sophisticated technology, leading them to conclude that it couldn't have been older than 200 years at the time it was discovered. However, the age of the book itself is still debated today, with some people claiming that it is actually thousands of years old. One of the biggest pieces of evidence pointing towards it being extremely old comes from the fact that the characters used in the book don't match any known language. However, one linguist actually claimed that the text does in fact describe the creation of the universe. Although if this is true, then how did the author know so much about the universe? And now for the weirdest part: the Vatican hates this book. Why, you ask? Well, allegedly, the book contains secrets which could change the course of human history forever. But what are these secrets, and why wouldn't the Vatican want them to be revealed? In fact, ever since the book was discovered, several high-ranking members of the Church have tried to suppress its existence. In 1976, Pope Paul VI even ordered that the book should never be opened again, supposedly terrified of what would happen if its secrets were revealed to the public. To make things even more sinister, shortly after giving the order, the Pope passed away suddenly and mysteriously. Coincidence? You decide. Some people even believe that the book is cursed, citing strange events which happened to those who dared to study it. For example, one scholar who tried to translate the book went mad and killed his wife before taking his own life. Another researcher suffered severe brain damage, leaving him unable to speak. And yet another simply vanished without a trace. So is the Rohonc Codex really cursed, or are these just spooky coincidences? And what secrets might it hold, which are so terrifying that the Vatican would rather we didn't know about them? Unfortunately, we may never know the truth. That is, unless someone dares to defy the Church and unlocks the secrets of this mysterious book. So what do you think? Is this really an ancient artifact that could change our understanding of history forever? Or is it just a silly myth with no real basis in reality? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next mystery.